Hello students, today I bring for you a new chapter and that is human health and disease. In this chapter, we are going to cover important topics like common health, common disease in humans, immunity, AIDS, cancer, drugs and alcohol abuse. So, let's start this chapter from this PDF. First of all, health is a state of complete physical, mental and social well-being. Health is affected by genetic disorders, infections, change in lifestyle, food, water, rest, exercise habits, etc. Mind influences immune system through neural and endocrine system and thereby health. When the functioning of organs or systems of the body is adversely affected, it is called a disease. Here you can see healthy body plus healthy mind equal to happy life. Coming to diseases, are two types, infectious, non-infectious. Infectious means that transmit from one person to another, that are called infectious diseases. Non-infectious means that do not transmit from one person to another, and disease causing organisms are called pathogens. Parasites are pathogens as they harm the host. Next is good humor hypothesis. It is proposed by Hippocrates and Indian Ayurveda system. It states that health is a state of body and mind where there is a balance of certain humors. Persons with black bile belongs to hot personality and would have fevers. But William Harvey disapproved this hypothesis. He discovered blood circulation and demonstrated normal body temperature in persons with black bile using thermometer. Coming to common infectious diseases in humans. Before starting this, let's see NCERT what it says initially. Here, humor is mentioned here as you can see, and early Greek like Hippocrates as well as Indian Ayurveda system of medicine asserted it has thought that the person with black bile belongs to hot personality and would have fever. This idea arrived at by pure reflective thoughts and the discovery of blood circulation by William Harvey using experimental methods and the demonstration of normal body temperature in persons with black bile using thermometer disproved this good humor hypothesis. Okay. Next, here health is affected by genetic disorders, deficiency with which a child is born and deficiency or defects with the child inherits from parents from birth. Second is infections. Third, lifestyle including food and water we take, rest and exercise we give to our bodies, habits that we have or lack, etc. Next, the term health is very frequently used by everybody. Simply we cannot say that absence of disease or physical fitness is health, but it defined as state of complete physical, mental and social well-being. When people are healthy, they are more efficient at work. Obviously, they increase productivity and brings economic prosperity. Next, to maintain a proper health, a complete physical, mental and social health, we need balanced diet, personal hygiene and regular exercise. These three are very much important to maintain good health, even including yoga also. Then, awareness about diseases, their effect on different bodily functions, vaccination or immunization against infectious diseases, proper disposal of waste, control of vectors and maintenance of hygiene in food and water resources are necessary for achieving good health. Next is, when the functioning of one or more organs or system of the body is adversely affected, characterized by appearances of various signs and symptoms, we say that we are not healthy. That is, we have a disease. Disease can be broadly grouped into infectious and non-infectious. Disease which are easily transmitted from one person to another is called infectious disease, and very common and every one of us suffer from this at some time or other. Some of the infectious diseases like AIDS are fatal. Among non-infectious diseases, cancer is major cause of death. Drugs and alcohol abuse also affect our health adversely. Common disease in humans. Let's see that PDF, what it says here. First of all, bacterial disease, typhoid. It is caused by pathogen that is called Salmonella typhi. Modes of transmission, now it enters into the small intestine through food and water and migrates to other organs via blood. Symptoms are sustained high fever, headache, weakness, stomach pain, constipation, loss of appetite, intestinal perforation and death may occur. Here how contaminated food and air goes from fecal-oral route, then carrier, the gallbladder, intestine, then shed as feces. And these are the symptoms: sweating, shivering, headache, muscle ache, not feeling hungry, that is loss of appetite, and weakness, hallucinations, irritability. Then Widal test is used for confirmation of this disease. Widal test. How it is done? As you can see here, Widal test is done here. The flagellum having H antigen and O antigen, that are liposaccharides, and Widal test is done by using only these two, that is Salmonella typhi antigen O or H plus serum of the patient. Widal test occur in first agglutination occur, negative came, then again negative, then positivity show. Then is typhoid Mary. Interestingly, it is mentioned also in your NCERT. Mary Mallon, nicknamed Typhoid Mary, was a professional cook. She cooked in variety or many of the British homes. She was a typhoid carrier who continued to spread typhoid for several years through food she prepared, and the name is Typhoid Mary given. Next is bacterial disease. It infects lungs, alveoli. The alveoli gets filled with fluid leading to respiratory problems, and here you can see normal air sac in the alveoli, and it is the inflamed air sac filled with fluid, that is pneumonia occur. Then pathogen is Streptococcus pneumoniae or Haemophilus influenza. Mode of transmission, inhaling the droplets or aerosols released by an infected person, sharing glasses and utensils with an infected person. Then symptoms are respiratory problems, fever, chills, cough, headache. In severe cases, lips and fingernails turns into grey to bluish in color. Then viral disease and common cold. It infects nose and respiratory passage but not lungs. Remember, it does not affect lungs. It lasts for 3 to 7 days. Here the upper respiratory tract, nasal cavity, pharynx, larynx, lower respiratory tract, trachea, primary bronchi, lungs. Pathogen is rhinoviruses. Modes of transmission is inhaling droplets resulting from cough and or sneeze, through contaminated objects like pens, book, cup, doorknobs, computer accessories, etc. Symptoms are nasal congestion and discharge, fever, headache, sore throat, cough, hoarseness, tiredness, etc. These are the symptoms. Next is protozoan disease, that is malaria. Pathogen is Plasmodium species, Plasmodium vivax, Plasmodium malariae, Plasmodium falciparum. Remember, Plasmodium falciparum causes most serious, that is malignant malaria. Next, modes of transmission: by biting female Anopheles mosquito. Symptoms are hemorrhaging. It is a toxin released by Plasmodium, causes chill and high fever recurring every 3 to 4 days. And here you can see in this diagram, there is the Plasmodium falciparum in blood, and here also you can see these are the Plasmodium falciparum. Here the symptoms: headache, fever, fatigue, pain, muscles, back pain, chills and sweating, dry cough, spleen enlargement, stomach nausea and vomiting. Now coming to life cycle Plasmodium. Here you can see Plasmodium have both the carriers are the life cycles. Here you can see mosquito as well as the half life cycle of the Plasmodium occurs in mosquito and half in the human body. Here you can see a mosquito who is a carrier. It bites a person. Here you can see sporozoids came in to the liver cells, and in liver stage merozoids form, and they divide, they becomes gametocyte. And if the mosquito bites an infected person, then it goes to the mosquito's body, where you can see gametocytes, they form zygote, oocyte, and again sporozoids, and again the sporozoids goes to an healthy person, and then the cycle continues. Here you can easily understand the life cycle plasmodium. Here mosquito bites another human, and the mosquito is the carrier of plasmodium. Then sporozoids are injected into the human body. Then parasites reach to the liver through the blood. Asexual reproduction in liver cell, bursting of cell release into the blood, and then asexual reproduction in RBC, bursting RBCs release hemojoin, cycle of fever and other symptoms occur inside the human body. Then gametocytes are formed, sexual in RBC. Then mosquito sucks the blood from the infected person, and gametocytes are goes inside the mosquito's body. Then fertilization occur inside the mosquito, development occur in the mosquito's gut. Then mature infective stages, sporozoids are formed, escape from the intestine and migrate to the mosquito's salivary gland. And if that mosquito bites to a healthy human body, then again the cycle continues. So this is the life cycle of plasmodium. Then is protozoan diseases, amoebiasis. Pathogens are entamoeba histolytica. Modes of transmission is housefly is a mechanical carrier, transmit parasites from feces to food and water. Symptoms are constipation, abdominal pain and cramps, stools with excess mucus and blood clots. Next is helminth disease, ascariasis. Pathogen is ascariasis, intestinal parasite. Modes of transmission: soil, water, vegetables, fruits, etc. contaminated with feces containing eggs of parasite. Symptoms are internal bleeding, muscular pain, fever, anemia, and blockage of intestinal passage. Then is filariasis or elephantiasis. Pathogens are filarial worm or Wuchereria. Wuchereria are two types: Wuchereria bankrupti and Wuchereria malai. Modes of transmission: bites of female Culex mosquito. Symptoms are it lives in the lymphatic vessels, usually of the lower limbs. It causes chronic inflammation of the organs in which they live for many years. Limbs and genital organs may be deformed. As you can see, both limb and genital organ, testis, these both are deformed. Then is fungal disease, ringworms. Pathogens are Microsporum, Trichophyton and Epidermophyton. They are seen in groins. Groins means between thigh region. It's called groins, and between toes. Then pathogens, modes of transmission from soil or by using towels, cloths, combs, etc. Heat and moisture helps fungus to grow. Then symptoms are dry scaly lesions on skin, nails, scalps, etc. and intense itching. Next is prevention. Prevention and control of diseases. First of all, personal hygiene. Keep the body clean. Use clean drinking water or food, etc. Next is public hygiene. Proper disposal of waste and excreta. Periodic cleaning and disinfection of water reservoirs, pools, cesspools and tanks. Avoid contact with infected person or their belongings to control airborne diseases. Standard practices of hygiene in public caterings. Control and eliminating vectors, example mosquitoes. First of all, control and elimination of vector, mosquitoes. Avoid stagnation of water. Second, regular cleaning of household cooler. Third, use of mosquito nets. And then introduce larvivorous fishes like Gambusia in ponds, Gambusia and guppy. These fishes, small fishes, they eat the larva of mosquito. mosquitoes. Okay, larva of mosquitoes, gambusia and guppy. Then spraying insecticides in ditches, drainage and swamps. Next, provide doors and windows with wire mesh. These precautions can avoid vector-borne diseases like malaria, filariasis, dengue fever and chikungunya. Next is vaccines and immunization helps to control diseases like smallpox, polio, diphtheria, pneumonia and tetanus. Drugs like antibiotics also help to treat infectious diseases. Next is human immune system. Let's see what your NCERT says about this. Here pathogen is mentioned, that is disease causing organisms are called pathogens. Disease causing organisms are called pathogens. It includes bacteria, viruses, fungus, protozoans, helminths, etc. And same points which we mentioned here in that PDF that are mentioned here only. Here Salmonella typhi is a pathogenic bacterium which causes typhoid fever in human being. They generally enter the small intestine through food and water contaminated with them and migrate to other organs through the blood. And symptoms are high fever, weakness, stomach pain, constipation, headache and loss of appetite. And in severe cases, intestinal perforation and death may occur. It can be confirmed by vital test. And a classic case in medicine, Mary Mallon, nicknamed Typhoid Mary. She was a cook by profession and was a typhoid carrier who continued to spread typhoid for several years through the food she prepared. Next, bacteria like Streptococcus pneumonia and Haemophilus influenza are responsible for the disease pneumonia in humans, which infect the alveoli of the lungs. And symptoms are fever, chills, cough and headache. Severe cases, lips and fingernails may turn grey to bluish in color. Then, coming to viral disease, rhinoviruses represent one such group of viruses which causes one of the most infectious human ailments, that is common cold. It infects the nose, respiratory passage but not the lungs. And nasal congestion and discharge, sore throat, hoarseness, cough, headache, tiredness, etc. Usually it lasts for 3 to 7 days. Then malaria. Here Plasmodium species, Plasmodium vivax, Plasmodium malaria and Plasmodium falciparum, responsible for different type of malaria. Of this, malignant malaria caused by Plasmodium falciparum. Question may be asked here. Here the life cycle is there, as I told you, sporozoites, liver cell, it acts with liver cell, then the RBC, then rupture of RBC, release a toxic substance that is hemozoin, which is responsible for the chill and high fever recurring every 3 to 4 days. And the cycle continues. Here you can see proper cycle of the mosquito. Same points we already mentioned. Half life cycle occur in human body and half life cycle occur in the mosquito's body. So 2 hosts are required for this type of disease spread, Plasmodium. Next is Entamoeba histolytica. It is a protozoan parasite, large intestine of the human, which causes amoebiasis, that is amoeboic dysentery. Symptoms are constipation, abdominal pain, cramps, stools with excess mucus and blood clots. Houseflies are the mechanical carrier of this. Then ascariasis, the common roundworm of, and Wuchereria, the filarial worm, are from the helminths disease. Ascariasis symptoms are internal bleeding, muscular pain, fever, anemia and blockage of the intestinal passage. Then Wuchereria, which have 2 species, bankruptcy and malai. The filarial worm causes a slowly developing chronic inflammation of the organs in which they live for many years, and causes the disease called elephantiasis or filariasis. Then coming to fungus, genera Microsporum, Trichophyton and Epidermophyton are responsible for ringworm. And dry scaly lesions on various parts of the body such as skin, nails and scalps. And about the how to avoid these diseases, now maintaining personal and public hygiene. Next, here the fishes, small fishes, gambusia and guppy are mentioned here, and some vector-borne diseases, Aedes mosquito like dengue, chikungunya, and smallpox also mentioned. Polio, diphtheria, pneumonia, and tetanus have been controlled to a large extent by the use of vaccines. Next, immunity. Before starting this, let's see the PDF, human immune system. Here, it is a system that gives immunity to the body by recognizing, responding, and remembering foreign antigens. It plays a role in allergic reactions, autoimmune diseases, and organ transplantation. It includes lymphoid organs, tissue, cells, and antibodies. You can see tonsils, entrance of thoracic duct into subclavian vein, thymus, axillary lymphoid node, thoracic duct, spleen, inguinal lymph node, red bone marrow, Peyer's patches in small intestinal wall, right lymphatic duct, and cervical lymph node. First of all, lymphoid organs. These are the organs where origin, maturation, and proliferation of lymphocytes occur. Lymphoid organs are two types, primary and secondary. Coming to primary lymphoid organs, it is of two types. The organs where lymphocytes are matured and differentiated to antigen sensitive lymphocytes, and bone marrow and thymus are there. You can see the diagram, bone marrow, yellow bone marrow and red bone marrow, and here the thymus, right lobe and left lobe. Then, already know bone marrow is the site of formation of all blood cells including B and T lymphocytes. Thymus is a bilobed organ seen near the heart and beneath the breastbone. It is large during birth but gradually reduces in size and becomes very small in size at puberty. Immature T lymphocytes from bone marrow is migrated to thymus and matured. Next, secondary lymphoid organs. The organs to which mature lymphocytes migrate from primary lymphoid organs interact with antigens and then proliferate to become effector cells. Example, spleen and lymph nodes. Here the diagram, spleen and lymph nodes. Then tonsils also, tonsil, Peyer's patches. It is a normal tonsil, it is a inflamed tonsil. And here small intestine and Peyer's patches are found here like this. Then mucosa associated lymphoid tissue, MALT, and appendix. These are the secondary lymphoid organs. Coming to spleen. Spleen is a bean-shaped organ, contains lymphocytes and phagocytes. Remove worn out RBC and microorganisms from the blood reservoir of erythrocytes in fetus. That's why it is called the graveyard of RBC. Remember, spleen is called graveyard of RBC. Then lymph nodes found in lymphatic system, they trap microorganisms and other antigens. Trapped antigens activate lymphocytes and causes immune response. Then MALT, full form is asked. Mucosa associated lymphoid tissue, MALT, is located within the lining of respiratory, digestive and urinogenital tract. It constitutes the 50% of lymphoid tissue. See the diagram, MALT is there as you can see. Then immunity. It is the ability of the immune system to fight the disease causing organisms. Coming to types of immunity, it is of two types, innate immunity and acquired immunity. Innate means inborn immunity, acquired means adaptive immunity. First of all, innate or inborn immunity. It is a non-specific defense present at the time of the birth. It provides barrier to the entry of foreign agents into the body. And barriers are of four types: physiological barrier, cellular barrier and cytokine barrier. First of all, physical barrier. Our skin, it prevents the entry of foreign bodies. First line of defense. Mucous coating of the lining of the respiratory, gastrointestinal and urinogenital tract to trap the microbes. Here you can see in this diagram normal skin barrier function, how they prevent the entry of the foreign bodies, and here the mucous membrane. First line of defense, saliva contain antibacterial enzymes, tears also contain antibacterial enzymes, skin prevent the entry of pathogens, mucous lining trap dirt and microbes, gastric HCl, low pH kills the pathogen, good gut bacteria out compete bad. Next, second is physiological barrier. They prevent microbial growth. It includes gastric HCl, saliva and tears. Next, cellular barrier. Phagocytes like WBC, example neutrophils or polymorphonuclear leukocytes, PMNL, polymorphonuclear leukocytes, monocytes and natural killer lymphocytes and macrophages, etc. Here you can see RBC, WBC and bacteria. White blood cell, what it do? Now it directly trap the bacteria like this. Then cytokine barrier. Virus infected cells secrete a cytokine protein called interferons. It protects non-infected cells from further viral infections. Remember here, it is an infected cell. Viruses are inside it, and when the virus attacks the cell, some interference occur, IFN gene, and the synthesis is the IFN interferon, and these interferons they goes to the another cell nearby non-infected cell, and they inform it about the virus attack, and this according to this the genes are activated and they synthesis antiviral proteins, and these antiviral proteins block the virus replication and degrade the virus nucleic acids. Thus why infection is controlled. Second is acquired immunity. Pathogen specific immunity developed during lifetime. It is characterized by memory, that is during first encounter of a pathogen, body produce primary response in low intensity. Second encounter of the same pathogen causes a secondary response in high intensity, and secondary is called anamnestic. Like you can see here the first encounter, and the B cell they create a low intensity like this. Here the first initial exposure and the primary immune response like this. Primary immune response like this one. During the second exposure, it remember this one, and your memory cell activated, and the secondary response, as you can see, it is become a peak one. Second is here primary and secondary immunoresponse are carried out by B lymphocytes, B cells and T lymphocytes, T cells. B lymphocytes produce antibodies. These are the proteins to fight with pathogens. T lymphocytes helps B cell to produce antibodies. Here you can see in the diagram. Here B cell receptor, antigen binding on B cell, and then chemical signal from helper T cell and becomes a plasma cell, release antibodies. Then structure of antibody. An antibody has 4 polypeptide chain, including 2 light chain and 2 heavy chain, H2 and L2. Types of antibodies are IgA, IgG, IgM, IgE and IgD. IgA you are familiar with. It is found in the first milk produced by mother, and that is colostrum. Next, here the diagram. Variable regions of light chain, constant region of light chain, constant region of heavy chain, antigen binding sites, variable region of heavy chain, light chain, disulfide bridges and heavy chain. Here the structure of all these type of antibodies. Next, types of acquired immune response. First of all, humoral or antibody mediated response or antibody mediated immunity, AMI. Second is cell mediated response or cell mediated immunity, CMI. First of all, AMI, humoral or antibody mediated response or antibody mediated immunity. It is the immune response mediated by antibodies. Antibodies are found in blood plasma, so called as humoral immune response. You can see antibodies coat virus 1, and the antibodies like this, they coat like this. They are the antibodies, they bind with the virus. Virus cannot infect cell, it is the uninfected host cell, and the tagged virus, it then destroyed in the neutrophil like this. Second is cell mediated response or cell mediated immunity, CMI. It is the immunity response mediated by T lymphocytes or T cells. Here you can see the body can differentiate self and non-self, and thus CMI causes graft rejection. First of all, T cell makes contact and release granules. These granules are produced. The cytotoxic T cell, it releases granules. Virus infected host cell, these are the virus particles, and then granules induce cell to self-destruct and virus cannot replicate. These granules induce the cells to self-destruct, thus the virus cannot replicate. It is the cell mediated immunity, CMI. Then tissue matching and blood group matching are essential before undertaking any graft or transplant. After this, the patient has to take immunosuppressant all his life. Here, matching donor patients before donating organs, HLA is checked. We'll go through HLA, what is it in the NCERT PDF. Then blood donors are there. O give to only O blood group, A give to O and A, B give to A and O and B blood group, AB give to all these, universal recipient. Then types of acquired immunity, active and passive. Both are natural artificial, passive also natural artificial. In active immunity, here natural and vaccination is artificial. Passive immunity, maternal antibodies natural, artificial is the monoclonal antibodies. Here we can see active immunity. It is the immunity in which antibodies are produced in a host body when the host is exposed to antigens. Example, living or dead microbes or other proteins. It is a slow process. It is produced by two ways. Natural active immunity, it is developed during natural infection by microbes, and artificial active immunity, it is developed by injecting microbes deliberating during immunization. Here is the natural, as you can see, naturally from outside it goes to the body and through artificial active injecting microbes, which is called vaccination. Here passive immunity. Here the ready-made antibodies are directly given to the body. It is of two types, natural, artificial. Coming to natural, antibodies like IgG from mother to placenta to fetus, antibodies like IgA in colostrum goes inside the infants. And artificial is anti-tetanus serum, ATS. Next, immunization, acquired immunity. This is based on memory of immune system. Two types, active and passive immunization. Coming to active immunization, that is called vaccination. In this, a preparation of vaccines, antigenic proteins of pathogen or inactivated pathogens is introduced into the body. It results in the development of antibodies. During actual infection, the antibodies neutralize the antigens, etc. And the vaccine also generates memory B and T cell. They recognize the pathogen quickly. Example, polio vaccine, hepatitis B vaccine, DPT vaccine, etc. Vaccines are produced using DNA recombinant technology. That is hepatitis B vaccine produced from yeast. Then passive immunization. It is a direct injection of preformed antibodies or antitoxin. It is required for quick immune responses. Example, immunization against tetanus, snake venom, etc. Then it's allergy. It is the exerted response of immune system to some antigens seen in environment. Allergens, that are substances causing allergy. Example, mites in dust or dust mites, as you can see, pollens, animal dander, pet dander that is, and fur, etc. Antibodies produced against the allergens are IgE type. Remember, IgE binds on mast cell to release chemicals like histamine and serotonin. From them, it results in allergic reactions. Then, symptoms are sneezing, watery eye, running nose, difficulty in breathing, wheezing, skin rashes, etc. Determination of causes of allergy, that the patient is exposed or to injected with very small doses of possible allergen and the reaction studied. Treatment. Drugs like antihistamine, adrenaline and steroids quickly reduce the symptoms of allergy. Asthma is a respiratory disease due to allergy. Modern day lifestyle results lowering of immunity and more sensitivity to allergens. Many children in metro cities suffer from allergies and asthma due to sensitivity to the environment. This is due to the protected environment provided early in life. Next is autoimmunity. In higher vertebrates, memory-based acquired immunity evolved based on the ability to differentiate foreign organisms from self cells. Sometimes due to genetic and other unknown reasons, the body attacks self cells resulting in the damage to the body. It is called autoimmune disease. Example, rheumatoid arthritis. Next is AIDS. Okay, before starting this, let's see NCERT what it says. Immunity, two type, innate immunity and acquired immunity. Coming to innate immunity, it is a non-specific type of defense present at the time of birth. It has four type of barrier: physical, physiological, cellular and then cytokine barrier. Coming to physical barrier, skin on our body is the main barrier. Mucous coating epithelium lining of the respiratory, gastrointestinal and urogenital tract. These are also physical barrier. Physiological barrier, acids in the stomach, saliva in the mouth, tears from eye, they all prevent microbial growth and thus called physiological barrier. Cellular barrier, certain type of leukocytes, that is WBC of our body, like polymorphonuclear leukocyte PMNL, neutrophils and monocytes and natural killer type of lymphocytes. The blood as well as macrophages in tissue can phagocytose and destroy microbes. Cytokine barrier, virus infected cells secrete proteins called interferons. We already seen in the diagram in that PDF, remember, which protect the non-infected cells from further viral infections. Coming to acquired immunity, it is a pathogen specific, characterized by memory. This means when our body encounters pathogen for the first time, it produces a response called primary response, which is low intensity. And if that same pathogen again encounters our body, then our body memorize that particular pathogen and it creates a highly intensified response, that is called an amonistic response. Remember, secondary or an amonistic response. Next, the primary and secondary immune response are carried out with the help of two special type of lymphocytes present in our body, present in our blood, that is B and T lymphocytes. B lymphocyte produce an army of proteins in response to pathogen in our blood to fight with them. These proteins called antibodies. The T cells themselves do not secrete any antibody, but they help B cells to produce them. Each antibody molecules has four peptide chain, two small called light chain and two longer called heavy chain, represented as H2 and L2. And examples are IgA, IgM, IgE, IgG are some of them. Here, because the antibodies are found in the blood, the response is also called humoral immune response. This is one of the two type of our acquired immune response, antibody mediated. Second type is called cell mediated immune response or CMI, cell mediated immunity. The lymphocytes mediated CMI. The T lymphocyte mediated CMI. Here a question is asked, why is it that the organs cannot be taken from just anybody? What is it that the doctor check? Here you can see, organs cannot be taken from just anybody because mismatched organs can lead to blood transfusion reactions or transplant rejections. To ensure such a reaction does not occur, doctors match both the organ donor and the person who is received the organs. The main component of the immune system that show graft rejection is cell mediated immunity, HLA. I already told in the PDF, full form is a human leukocyte antigen. Compatibility is also checked to find the best compatibility. Here again, tissue matching, blood group matching are also checked before the transplantation. Then active and passive immunity. When a host is exposed to antigen, which may be in the form of living or dead microbe or other proteins, antibodies are produced in the host body. This is called active immunity. And when a ready-made antibody are directly given to protect the body against foreign agents, it is called passive immunity. Here colostrum is there, IgA is mentioned, and our placenta also produce many antibodies. You already seen in the previous chapter. Then vaccination and immunization. Main principle of vaccination is the based on property of memory of the immune system. A preparation of antigenic proteins or pathogen or inactivated or weakened pathogens are introduced into the body, and it produces antigens, and the same cycle occur. Our memory cells B and T cells recognize the pathogens and they become activated. When the real particular pathogen is encountered their body, then they also prepare, then they fight with them. Here snake bite, the injection which is given to the patient is antibody against the snake venom. This is called passive immunization, and particularly are produced by recombinant DNA technology. Here, like hepatitis B vaccine produced from yeast. Then coming to allergies. The exaggerated response of the immune system to certain antigen present in environment is called allergy, and the substance to which the such as immune response is produced are called allergens. Type of the antibodies produced are IgE type. Some examples of allergens are mites in the dust, pollens, animal dander, etc. Symptoms are sneezing, watery eye, running nose, difficulty in breathing. Allergy is due to release of chemicals like histamine and serotonin from the mast cell. Remember. And how to cope with it? Now, by using the drugs like antihistamine, adrenaline and steroids. They quickly reduce the symptoms of the allergy. Then autoimmunity. It is a memory based acquired immunity, and first of all, two corollaries of this ability have to be understood. One, higher vertebrates can distinguish foreign molecules as well as foreign organisms. Two, sometimes due to genetic and other unknown reasons, the body attacks self cells, and this results the damage of the body is called autoimmune disease. Rheumatoid arthritis, which affect many people in society, is an autoimmune disease. Here, the immune system in the body, you already seen in that PDF about the lymphoid organs. Same points are given. Lymphoid organs, origin, maturation, proliferation of lymphocytes occur. Primary organs are bone marrow and thymus, and secondary are spleen, lymph nodes, tonsils, pairs, patches of small intestine and appendix. Here the thymus is quite large at the time of birth but keeps reducing in size with the ages, and by the time of puberty it attains it reduced to a very small size. Then the spleen is the large bean shaped organ. It mainly contains lymphocytes and phagocytes. Spleen is also a large reservoir of erythrocytes. It is also located, the lymphoid tissue are also located in the lining of major tract, that is respiratory, digestive and urogenital tract, called mucus associated lymphoid tissue, MALT. It constitutes about 50% of the lymphoid tissue in human body. Then AIDS. Before starting this, let's see the PDF what it says. AIDS. Acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. It is a deficiency of immunosystem. Syndrome means a group of symptoms caused by human immunodeficiency virus HIV. HIV is a retrovirus with RNA genome. It was first reported in America 1981. In last 25 years, it killed over 25 million persons. Coming to transmissions, sexual contact with infected person. Second, transfusion of contaminated blood and a blood product. Third, sharing infected needles. Fourth, from infected mother to her child through placenta. High risk people of getting HIV. First, individuals with multiple sexual partners. Second, individuals who require repeated blood transfusion. Third, drug addict who takes drug intravenously. And fourth, child born to a HIV infected mother. Then HIV does not spread by mere touch or physical contact, it spreads only through body fluid. Like you can see, kissing, hugging, sharing food, insect bites, toilet seats, bathing, sneezing and cough, sweating, through which HIV does not spread. It only spreads through the body fluids. Transmission. There is a time lag from few months to 5 to 10 years between the infection and appearance of the symptoms. It is caused by replication of retroviruses. And how the virus replicated? As you can see in this diagram, retrovirus, viral RNA core, virus infected normal cell, viral protein coat. It goes inside the animal cell's body, then viral RNA into the cell, then viral DNA is produced by reverse transcriptase. Remember central dogma we already seen. Then this DNA goes to the host genome of the cell, nucleus DNA, and then in the host cell new viral RNA are produced, and the cycle continues. New viruses can infect other cells. Then life cycle. HIV enters the body. To macrophages act as HIV factory. Like macrophages you can see. RNA replicate in presence of reverse transcriptase to form viral DNA. Viral DNA incorporates into host DNA. Infected cells produce viral particles. Then HIV enters into helper T cell, replicates and produce progeny viruses, attack other Th cells. Then T cells decrease and weaken immunity. Effect, diagnosis and treatment. Coming to effects, during this period the person suffers from fever, diarrhea and weight loss. Due to deficiency of Th cells, he may be infected with mycobacterium, viruses, fungus and parasites like toxoplasma. Diagnosis includes ELISA test. ELISA means enzyme linked immunosorbent assay. Treatment are antiviral drugs are partially effective. They can only prolong the life of the patient. Then coming to prevention of AIDS, first of all, say no to drugs, educate people about AIDS, use disposable needles and syringes, pre-distribution of condoms, making blood banks safe from HIV, regular checkup for HIV, advocating safe sex, controlling drug abuse. Next is cancer. Before starting this, let's see the NCERT what it says about AIDS. Here, AIDS stands for acquired immunodeficiency syndrome, and it is not a congenital disease. Syndrome means group of symptoms. This was first reported in 1981. In the last 25 years, it kills more than 25 million persons. It is caused by virus, that is human immunodeficiency virus. It is a member of retrovirus, which have an envelope enclosing the RNA genome. Transmission of HIV infection generally occur by sexual contact with infected person, by transfusion of contaminated blood and blood product, by sharing infected needles, as in case of intravenous drug abuse, and from infected mother to her child through placenta. Here you can see how the retrovirus goes inside the animal cell's body, and then viral DNA produced by reverse transcriptase. Then the DNA goes to the inside the nucleus, and new viral RNA are produced from the infected cell, and new viruses are produced, and the new viruses affect the other cells. Then it is not spread by mere touch or physical contact. And I already told you, reverse transcriptase. HIV enters the helper T lymphocytes, replicate and produce progeny viruses. And the common symptoms initially bout of fever, diarrhea, and weight loss. And here, otherwise, like mycobacterium, viruses, fungus, and even parasite toxoplasma are also mentioned. And it is diagnostic test is ELISA, enzyme linked immunosorbent assay. Treatment of AIDS with antiretroviral drugs is only partially effective. Okay. Preventions, I already told you. National AIDS Control Organ NACO and other non-governmental organization NGOs are doing a lot to educate people about AIDS. WHO also started a number of programs to prevent the spreading of HIV infection, making blood banks safe from HIV, ensuring the use of only disposable needles and syringes in public and private hospitals and clinics, pre-distribution of condoms, controlling drug abuse, advocating safe sex, and promoting regular checkup for HIV in susceptible populations. Then coming to cancer. Let's see the PDF. Here, cancer. Cancer is an abnormal and uncontrolled multiplication of cells resulting in the formation of tumor. That is, mass of cells is called tumor. Normal cells show a contact inhibition, that is, contact with the other cells inhibit their uncontrolled growth. Cancer cells do not have this property. Then type of tumor. Two types, benign and malignant. First of all, benign tumor. Benign tumor is confined to the place of its origin. They do not spread to other part and they causes little damage. As you can see, normal duct, benign tumor. They only stay only this region. Here, tongue, gingiva, palate, buccal mucosa. How the tumor is formed, benign tumor is formed. Then is malignant tumor. Mass of proliferating cells, neoplastic or tumor cells that grow rapidly, invade and damage the surrounding normal tissue. Due to active division and growth, they starve normal cell by competing for nutrients. Cells lost from tumors reach other sites via blood where they form a new tumor. This is called metastasis. That is, they reach to other sites via blood and they form a new tumor in different places of the body. That is called metastasis. Then, causes of cancer, carcinogens. First of all, physical agents. Ionizing radiations like X-ray and gamma ray and non-ionizing radiations like UV ray. They causes cancer. Second, chemical agents, tobacco smoke, major causes of lung cancer, vinyl chloride, caffeine, nicotine, mustard gas. They are the chemical agents. Biological agents, oncogenic viruses, cellular oncogenes or proto-oncogenes. When C oncogenes in normal cell is activated, the cell becomes oncogenic. Then is detection and diagnosis. Biopsy, imaging technique, use of antibodies, molecular biology techniques. First of all, biopsy. In biopsy, a thin piece of the suspected tissue is stained and examined under the microscope. It is called histopathological studies. In case of leukemia, biopsy and histopathological studies, blood and bone marrow test for increased cell count. Next, imaging technique. Radiography, uses of the X-ray. Second, CT scan. CT means computerized tomography scan, uses X-ray to generate a 3D image of the internal of an object. MRI, magnetic resonance imaging uses magnetic field and non-ionizing radiations to detect pathological and physiological changes in the living tissue. Then use of antibodies against cancer specific antigens, molecular biology technique to detect cancer related genes. Such individuals should avoid carcinogens, example tobacco smoke. Next, radiography. Tumor cells are irradiated lethally without damaging surrounding normal tissue. Chemotherapy. Use of chemotherapeutic drugs. Many drugs have side effects like hair loss, anemia, etc. Immunotherapy. The patients are given biological response modifiers, example alpha interferons, which activated their immune system and helps in destroying the tumor. And last one is the surgery. Most cancer treatment by combination of surgery, radiotherapy and chemotherapy. Then drug smoking and alcohol abuse. Let's see the NCERT what it says about cancer. Here, it is the most dreaded disease of human being and is a major cause of death all over the globe. More than a million of Indians suffer from cancer and a large number of them died from it annually. The mechanism that underlie development of cancer or oncogenic transformation of cells, its treatment and controls are given, you can see. Normal cells shows a property that is called contact inhibition, by virtue of which contact with other cells inhibit their uncontrolled growth. Cancer cells appear to have lost this property. As a result, they divide and gives rise to masses of cells that is called tumors. Two types, benign, malignant. Benign tumors remain confined, means they stay at the original location, do not spread and causes little damage. Malignant tumor, they are opposite of the benign tumor. Here, they are proliferating cells called neoplastic or tumor cells. They grow very rapidly, invading, damaging surrounding normal tissue. Then they also travel through the blood to other body part and they make a new tumor there. This property is called metastasis. Causes are carcinogens, that is we already seen in the PDF. Ionizing radiations like X-ray, gamma ray, non-ionizing radiations like UV causes DNA damage leading to the neoplastic transformation. Tobacco smoke also. Then cancer causing viruses are called oncogenic viruses, have genes called viral oncogenes. Then furthermore several genes called cellular oncogenes or proto-oncogenes. Detection are biopsy and histopathological studies and blood and bone marrow test for increased cell count in the case of leukemia. In biopsy, a piece of suspected tissue cut into thin section is stained and examined under microscope. Radiography, X-ray, CT scan, MRI scan are also very useful to detect cancer of the internal organs. Computed tomography uses X-ray to generate a three-dimensional image, 3D image of the internal of an object. MRI uses strong magnetic field, non-ionizing radiations to accurately detect the pathological and physiological changes in the living tissue. Then, coming to treatments, surgery, radiation therapy and immunotherapy. Several chemotherapeutic drugs are used to kill cancerous cells, but it has some side effects like hair loss, anemia. Most cancer treated by combination of surgery, radiotherapy and chemotherapy. Here, alpha interferons are mentioned. Then drugs and alcohol abuse. Let's see this PDF. Here you can see common abused drugs are opioids, cannabinoids, coca alkaloids. First of all, opioids. They bind to specific opioid receptors in central nervous system and gastrointestinal tract. Example, morphine, heroin, brown sugar. Morphine is extracted from the latex of poppy plant, Papaver somniferum. It is a sedative and painkiller and useful for surgery. Here you can see it is the poppy plant and there the latex where the morphine is extracted. Heroin or smack or diacetyl morphine is a white, odorless, bitter crystalline compound. It is obtained by acetylation of morphine. It is taken by snorting and injection. It is depressant and slow down body functions. Cannabinoids, they interact with cannabinoid receptors in the brain, generally taken by inhalation and oral ingestion. Natural cannabinoids are obtained from inflorescence of plants, Cannabis sativa, hemp plant, its flower, tops, leaves and resins are used to produce marijuana, hashish, charas and ganja. Here they affect cardiovascular system. Cannabinoids are abused by some sports persons also. Then coca alkaloid or cocaine, coke or crack. It is obtained from coca plant, Erythroxylum coca. It interferes with transport of neurotransmitter dopamine. It is usually snorted. It stimulates CNS producing euphoria and increased energy. Excessive doses of cocaine causes hallucinations. Atropa belladonna and datura also have hallucinogenic plants. Then drugs like barbiturates, amphetamines and benzodiazepines etc. are used as medicines to treat mental illness like depression and insomnia. But they are abused resulting in impairment of physical, physiological or psychological functions. Then smoking. Tobacco has been used by humans being for over 400 years. If it is smoked, chewed or used as a snuff. It contains many chemical substances like nicotine, which stimulate adrenal gland to release adrenaline and noradrenaline, causing high blood pressure and heart rate. It causes cancer of lungs, urinary bladder and throat, emphysema, bronchitis, coronary heart disease, gastric ulcer, etc. Tobacco chewing causes oral cancer. Smoking increased carbon monoxide content in blood and reduces oxyhemoglobin. This causes O2 deficiency in the body. Then adolescence and drug or alcohol abuse. Adolescence is a period and process during which a child becomes mature in terms of his or her attitudes and beliefs for effective participation in society. It is a bridge linked to childhood and adulthood, periods of 12 to 18 years of the age. It is very vulnerable phases of mental and physiological development. Causes of drugs or alcohol abuse used in adolescence. Curiosity and experimentation, needs for adventure and excitement to escape facing problems, stress from pressure to excel in academics or examination, television, movies, newspaper, internet, etc., unstable or unsupportive family structure and peer pressure. Addiction and dependence. Addiction, a physiological attachment, euphoria and a temporary feeling of well-being to drugs and alcohol. With repeated use of drugs, the tolerance level of the receptors increases, so the receptors respond only to higher doses, leading to greater intake and addiction. Dependence is the tendency of the body to manifest a characteristic and unpresent withdrawal syndrome if regular doses of drugs or alcohol is abruptly discontinued. This results in anxiety, shakiness, nausea and sweating. Dependence leads to social adjustment problems. The effect of drugs on alcohol abuse: reckless behavior, vandalism and violence, coma and death due to respiratory failure, heart failure or cerebral hemorrhage. Drugs mixed with alcohol may cause death, damages of nervous system and liver cirrhosis, mental and social distress to family and friends, social problems like stealing and spread of infectious disease like AIDS, hepatitis B, etc. Then use of drugs and alcohol by pregnant women affect the fetus, fetal alcohol syndrome or FAS. Here see the diagram. Loss of sexual drives and necrospermia. Misuse of drugs by athletes. Example: narcotic analgesic, anabolic steroids, diuretic, and certain hormones to increase muscle strength and bulk and to promote aggressiveness. Then warning signs of drugs or alcohol abuse in adolescence period: drop in academic performance and absence from school, lack of interest in personal hygiene, withdrawal and isolation, depression, fatigue, aggressive and rebellious behavior, change in sleeping and eating habits, fluctuation in weight, appetite, etc., loss of interest in hobbies, deteriorating relationship between families and friends. Side effect in male is acne, increased aggressiveness, mood swing and depression, reduced testicles, decreased sperm production, kidney and liver dysfunction, breast enlargement, premature baldness, enlargement of prostate gland. And in female, masculation, increased aggressiveness, mood swing, depression, excessive hair on face and body, abnormal menstrual cycle, deepening of voice, enlargement of the clitoris. See the diagrams. Then, in both male and female, several severe facial and body acne, premature closure of the growth center of the long bone resulting into stunted growth. Prevention is control, avoid under undue peer pressure, education and counseling, help from parents and peers, looking for danger signs, seeking professionals and medical help such as psychologists and psychiatrists, de-addiction and rehabilitation programs. Let's see the NCERT, what it says about this. Here, drugs are opioids, cannabinoids and coca-alkaloids. Coming to opioids, they are the drugs binds to specific opioid receptor present in our central nervous system and your gastrointestinal tract. Heroin is a common called snog. Smack is chemically diacetylmorphine, which is a white, odorless, bitter crystalline compound obtained by acetylation of morphine, which is extracted by latex of poppy plant, Papaver somniferum. Generally taken by snorting or injection. It is a depressant and slow down the body function. Coming to cannabinoids, it is also natural cannabinoids are obtained from the inflorescence of the plant Cannabis sativa. The flower top, leaves and the resins of cannabis plant are used in various combinations to produce marijuana, hashish, charas and ganja. Generally taken by inhalation and oral ingestion and directly affect the cardiovascular of the body. Then coca-alkaloids or cocaine is obtained from coca plant Erythroxylum coca, native to South America. It directly interferes the neurotransmitter dopamine. It is commonly called coke or crack, usually snorted. Then it produces a sense of euphoria and increased energy. Excessive doses cocaine causes hallucinations. And some other plant also having hallucinogenic properties like Atropa belladonna and Datura. Then drugs like barbiturates, amphetamines, benzodiazepines and other similar drugs that are normally used as medicines to help patients cope with mental illness like depression and insomnia are often abused. Morphine is a very effective sedative and painkiller. It is very useful in patients who have undergone surgery. Then coming to smoking, here the nicotine is there. It stimulates the adrenal gland to release adrenaline and noradrenaline into blood circulation, both with raised blood pressure and increased heart rate. Causes cancer of lungs, urinary bladder, throat, bronchitis, emphysema, coronary heart disease, gastric ulcer. Then the adolescent drug abuse. Adolescence is a brief linked childhood and adulthood. Period between 12 to 18 years is called adolescent period. Here the points we already seen in the PDF: addiction and dependence, withdrawal syndrome, effective of drug or alcohol abuse, excessive doses of drugs may lead to coma and death due to respiratory failure, heart failure and cerebral hemorrhage. Then those who take drugs intravenously, they are directly injected into the veins using a needle and syringe. are much more likely to acquire serious infections like AIDS and hepatitis B. Here the chronic use of drugs and alcohol damages the nervous system and liver cirrhosis. The misuse of narcotic analgesics, anabolic steroids, diuretic and certain hormones in sports to increase muscle strength and bulk and to promote aggressiveness, as a result increased athletic performance. And here the side effect in females: masculinization, increased aggressiveness, mood swing, depression, abnormal menstrual cycle, excessive hair growth on the face and body, enlargement of clitoris, deepening of voice. In males, acne, increased aggressiveness, mood swing, depression, reduction of size of the testicles, decreased sperm production, potential for kidney and liver dysfunction, breast enlargement, premature baldness, enlargement of the prostate gland. Under the prevention, avoid under peer pressure, education and counseling, seeking help from parents and peers, looking for danger signs, seeking professionals and medical helps. And with this we have completed this chapter completely. And here, thank you all for watching this video, and I hope the diagrams, the images are fully helpful to understand this particular important chapter perfectly. And if you like this video, then give a like. Don't forget to comment, and new viewers, please subscribe my channel. Thank you. Jai Jagannath.